Hare Krishna. Welcome all devotees to the Gita Daily session. Thanks for joining. So today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita Sloka 2.69. So let us start by taking the blessings of the Lord. Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Mai, Sudarshan, Gaurantaya, Panchatattva, Lakshmi Narasimhadev. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Adnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So let's dedicate the session to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, by whose mercy He has presented Bhagavad Gita in a very simple and practical way. We can apply so that we can apply in our day-to-day life. So let's thank Srila Prabhupada. So today's sloka is second chapter, sloka number 69. Let's recite the sloka. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने. Repetition. या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जाग्रति संयमी यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is the night for the introspective stage. Let's see the word meaning. Yeah, what? Nisha is night. Sarva, all. Bhutanam, of living entities. Tasyam, in that. Jagradi is wakeful. Samyami, the self-controlled. Yasyam, in which. Jagradi are awake. Bhutani, all beings. Sa, that is. Nisha, night. Pashyata, for the introspective. Mune, sage. So we'll again read the translation. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control. And the time of awakening for all beings is the night for the introspective stage. So this is a very special shloka in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord actually is giving an analogy, or an parallel or an example to see to give us an idea how the two different perspectives looks like. So we can see that the different things we observe in the world, to a great extent, it depends on the perspective, right? So something which is good for somebody, it may look like bad for somebody else, right? And the vice versa, it is possible. So here actually the two perspectives are given. One is the perspective of the materialistic person, and other one is the perspective of a person who is in the spiritual path. And then they are fully contradictory to each other. So this is what the Lord is explaining. So we'll try to understand in more detail. So trying to recap what we were discussing. So so we were discussing about the journey of the soul, right? Krishna was explaining to Arjuna about that we are not real, we are not the body and we are the soul. And then the last few sessions we were seeing how it is important to regulate the senses, right? And how one can fall down from a spiritual path, or even from material perspective also, from a moral perspective also. The fall down will start by the contemplating of this. Initially senses gives us information about things which are around us, and we start contemplating, right? And then the sequence of incidents which leads to the fall down, right? And then last session we saw how actually we can prevent or avoid the fall down by engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. So now it could be possible that some of us may be thinking, whatever we are learning, right? For some of you at least, may feel that how it is possible, right, to control the senses, or is it true that this is the life that we want to live? So, you may think that, okay, material world, why the Lord has given, like, they given senses only for enjoyment, right? The world is created for enjoyment. Why should we prevent or restrict from enjoyment? So this may be the perspective, right? Some of us may have. So this particular today's shloka is Lord is giving insight about the perspectives, different perspectives. So like maybe a materialistic, if you are a materialistic person, or if you are too much attached to sense enjoyment, right? Then it could happen that you may feel that no, this particular things we are discussing may not be like, you may feel that it is not right. No, because it looks contradictory. So how we understand from a scriptural perspective or a spiritual perspective, right? So so basically the perspective will depend on the no, what is our aim, or what is our intentions, or what is our goal. So when we understand that we are not the body and the soul, we are the soul. Accordingly, we discussed earlier that our activities and priorities will change. So if the goal is to become materially happy, right, then actually we should enjoy the senses. We should take every opportunity that we get to enjoy, right? Whatever the beautiful things we can see, we should try to enjoy that. Whatever we can hear, nice things we should hear, right? Everything, like all the senses, we can enjoy completely. But then, what we saw from a spiritual perspective, it is futile because this body is temporary, right? And we are not able to remember the enjoyment we have done in the past life. So we have enjoyed so many lives. Sometimes probably we might have been in a devata, in a heavenly planet, right? Sometimes might have suffered in a hellish planet. But then, nevertheless, we are not able to remember all those things. No? And we again we think in this life also I want to enjoy. So, so if your material, if your goal is to become materially happy, right, temporary happiness you need, then actually we should, all the things we are discussing, it doesn't make sense. We should just focus on enjoyment. But then we see all around us, people are suffering, right? Somebody sometimes enjoy and then later they are suffering. So, but on the contrary, when you're looking from a spiritual perspective, then you see that the real person is not the body, right? The soul, the Atma, who is eternal. We say saw the qualities of the soul. And the soul we saw can be only happy when it is engaged in spiritual practice. That is because the nature of the soul is to to engage in spiritual activity. Because the soul, the jiva's original constitutional position is to serve the Lord. Because the Lord created the jiva for his enjoyment. And when we are serving the Lord, so just like the example Prabhupada used to give, that the body, we have the hand in the body, right? Hand, legs, etc., different parts. And if the hand is thinking that hand wants to enjoy independently without serving the body, then actually we will not eat anything. So the hand has to put the food in the mouth, right? But when the hand puts the food in the mouth, the entire body is nourished. The person is nourished. But if the hand thinks that, okay, no, only want to enjoy without the body, then it is not possible. Same way, we are part and parcel of the Lord. And if we try to enjoy independent of the Lord, we cannot be satisfied. Again, the example of watering the root of the tree is given. So when we put the water at the root, the entire tree is nourished. Similarly, but then if you put the water only on the leaves, etc., no, the tree is not nourished. Similarly, the jiva, Krishna is the root of everything. He is the source of everything. When we satisfy the Lord, then everything becomes happy. Like all jivas become happy. We become happy. So this is our original position. So accordingly, this particular shloka, what is night for a spiritually enlightened soul is day for the materialistic people, and vice versa. So this can be understood with different examples, or at different levels we can understand it. The first level is a very simple example, that we see that in our Vedic culture, or in our olden times, people used to wake up very early in the morning, right? Like they woke up in Brahma Muhurta, like no, which actually like maybe it is around 4 o'clock or 4:30 a.m. So this is considered to be the time of mode of goodness, which is very good for spiritual practice, right? But we see today's world, most of the people get up very late. So this is a simple example, no? So the early morning time, actually, which is no, which is day, which is a time of activity for the spiritualist, actually is a night for the materialistic people, because they are sleeping, very soundly in the early morning, right? They watch the TV, or no, they do other activities till very late in the night. Then they go to sleep very late, and then so when the spiritualist is practicing spirituality, the person who is materialistic is in a deep sleep. So this is a very simple example, right? Now, if you go to higher perspective, a little more next level, from a broader perspective, what it means is that for a materialistic person, all the activities that a spiritualist is doing uh, looks like night, or it's like looks like a foolish activity. because they may think that, okay, why this person is wasting his time, na? He's simply, just chanting, doing some japa. He's not doing any hard work, right? He is just chanting, or he is reading some book, he's not doing anything practical. So the materialistic think that the spiritual person is a mad person, a foolish person, right? But on the contrary, the spiritualist person is having the real understanding, the real knowledge, because he knows that, what is actually ultimately beneficial for the soul is the spiritual process. And he understands that all the people in the material world, they are simply foolish, or they are mad, they are wasting their life, right? So one analogy is that, imagine a person who is a mad person, who is in a um, mental hospital, right? A mad person, sometimes a mad person who is very aggressive, or is too much, having a very serious disease, he may be put in a restricted in a cell. So when a person visits the mad person, right, an insane person visits the mad person, the sane person is a spiritualist, who understand this person is inside the cell is mad, because he has lost his connection with the reality in the real world. But what actually the mad person is thinking, he's thinking that this person who is outside, who has come to see him, is mad, right? So this is a very common thing. Many of the mad people, they think that, they are okay, and people outside are having problem. So this is basically, this is just the perspective of the two ways of looking at the same thing. So what is the understanding is that, so it depends, as I discussed in the beginning, it depends on where we are coming from, right, and what is our goal. So if you are really concerned about the real person, which is the atma, then actually we should dedicate our activities and time, align our activities, so that we spend more time for the real person, right? So that actually we can really get out of this temporary situation of, repeated birth, death, old age, and disease, right? But then if you are only concerned about the temporary happiness, just to be happy in this life, then actually it may look like, all these things are unnecessary, the spiritual practice is unnecessary, right? So that actually is the essential, point. So in this connection, some of us may have a doubt, right? So, like, let's say I do spiritual practice throughout my life, right? And finally, when I die, let's say there is no God, then what will happen to me? Like, my entire life is wasted, right? This doubt, or this anxiety may be there. So this question already, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, right? So one of the reporters, press reporters, asked Srila Prabhupada. So if Krishna is not there, then, what will happen to you all guys, right? So this question, you want to just little bit taunt, Prabhupada. So he asked this question. Then Prabhupada's reply was that, okay, if Krishna is not there, right, then actually we don't lose anything, because we have enjoyed our life anyway. We have lived a very moral life. So a person who is in the spiritual path, right, he may externally, from a materialistic perspective, he may look like, no, he's suffering, but actually he's really enjoying, because he's always having the spiritual happiness. Actually, we don't lose anything in, in Krishna consciousness, because see, we have all wonderful activities. So we have, we have basically, we have very nice prasadam that we eat, which can satisfy the tongue. Then, the devotees actually, they happily dance in front of the Lord, which give them a lot of happiness, right? They are always happy and peaceful, right? This way, there are actually, there is a lot of nice enjoyment in spiritual life. So we get a lot of knowledge. So really, if you look at a spiritual person, if you visit a temple, right, and see the devotees, we can see that they are always very happy and blissful. They are always smiling and very happily situated. So throughout the life, a spiritual person actually is enjoying only. There is nothing wrong. He doesn't do any bad activities. He doesn't commit any immoral activities. So he's always happy, and his consciousness is very clear. So he did not lose anything, right? But then Prabhupada asks, if you die, and if there is Krishna, then what will happen to you, right? So basically, that's a very dangerous situation, no? So let's say if the Lord is there, and you completely enjoy in a sinful way, then you die, your situation is very dangerous, because you will have to suffer in the next life according to the laws of karma, right? So this way, for a spiritual person, there is no loss. Even if you, let's say, even if there's nothing else achieved, he lives a very moral life, and then he can be happy throughout his life, right? Even if it doesn't. So in all ways, a spiritualist life is much better than a materialistic life. Maybe this is little difficult initially to understand unless we start practicing the spiritual life, because the bhakti is not very just theoretical. We have to experience it. So we need to start practicing the spiritual life. So we will touch upon a small incidents, like we have discussed about the story of Bharat Maharaj, right? So this story has one aspect which is connected to today's topic. So we saw that Bharat Maharaj, was a great king, and towards the end of the life, as part of the practice, he actually took up spiritual life. Right, he went to the forest and was practicing bhakti and was making great progress. And but unfortunately, he got attached to a small deer, which he saved, and he became so much attached to the deer that at time of death he was remembering the deer. And according to the laws, right, or according to the spiritual laws, whatever consciousness we have at the time of death will result in the next body, right? And Bharat Maharaj has to take the body of a deer in the next life. And out, but he was able to remember his previous life, so he was always meditating on the Lord. And in the third life, he became the son of a Brahmana, and he was known as Bharat again. But he was known by general people as Jada Bharat. So Jada Bharat, actually, from right from the childhood, he could remember his previous lives. No, he remembered that his last life was the deer, and previous life was great Emperor Bharat Maharaj. So he was very careful. No, he did not want to take any chance in this life, and lose opportunity to return back to God. So from childhood, he deliberately behaved like a madman. No, he was like, he did not speak anything. He was behaved like a dumb. No, he behaved like a deaf. If anything asked, he will not respond. He will not speak. Very rarely he speaks, and he eats whatever food is left over. So he lived a very simple and austere life, but acted like a madman. But internally, he was always experiencing the spiritual bliss. He was fully connected to the Lord. He was in a transcendental platform, and he was always remembering the Lord. And he was very much, very extremely happy and blissful internally, but he did not show it outside. So this is the situation of a spiritualist. Now, so from all the people who are outside, the normal people around him, his family members, relatives, everything thought that he's a mad guy. He doesn't have any intelligence. He's a foolish person. But actually, he was, really relishing spiritual happiness. And Bharat Maharaj actually has the real understanding, real knowledge, and he knew that all the people around, they are all mad because they are just wasting their life. They are just wasting or spoiling the opportunity, wonderful opportunity that they got the human birth, and then they are just wasting it. So he understood that all the people around was mad. So this story, or this particular example, illustrates this point, that the understanding of the truth, right, can be in different perspectives, but there can be only one truth, right? But then there can be different perspectives about the truth, and the perspective could be opposite, right? What actually, so that is the essence of today's sloka. So what is day for the spiritually advanced person is night for the materialistic people, right? And vice versa. And what is night for the materialistic people is day for the spiritualist. So so with that, I think we come to the end of the main topic. So what actually we discussed, or what are some things we can apply in our day to day life? So we have already seen some of these points, that basically, in our life's journey, we generally have various attachments, or we have different values or perspectives or conceptions, right? So we have to retrospect on this conception. We have to reevaluate them, thinking that, what are the things that I am valuing in my life, right, most? Are they really, really matter? Are they really, how significant are for my ultimate benefit? So we need to recheck these things, right? So we have to accordingly reprioritize. So sometimes we may be holding on to certain things, which actually, we may be thinking until now that it is very valuable, but it may not really help in our long term, in a long journey, right, beyond this life. So we have to. It's a moment of retrospection. We should try to think about it, ponder about it. So, and then ultimately, at the moment of death, we should not be regretful, right? So a person who is purely in the materialistic perspective, he may regret at the point of death, think that, no, so many things I could not fulfill in my life. Oh, I could not visit this country. Oh, I could not see my grandchildren married. Oh, I could not enjoy, like, my life properly. So then actually, with regret, he will die, right? Because he's thinking that, no, this temporary life is everything, right? So we need to get our perspective right as early as possible, and then accordingly, reshape our life activities, so that our life, we really fulfill the real purpose of human birth, right? Which actually is to elevate our consciousness, connect back to the Lord, so that actually we don't have to again take birth in the material world, right? We can go back to the spiritual world and regain our original constitutional position. Yeah. So I think with that, we come to the end of today's topic. So if somebody wants to leave, they are free. If anybody has any question, they can either ask, unmute and ask, or they can put it in the chat. So I would like to thank all devotees who are joining regularly. So please make a point to join, and also you can invite your friends and relatives. So if there are any questions, you can ask it. No? Okay, looks like no questions. Hare Krishna. So thanks once again, all of you, for joining, and let's see, we'll again connect tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.